Have you ever heard words so powerful, so timeless, that they linger in your heart long after they've been spoken? Words that seem to rise above time, culture, and circumstance, words that speak directly to your soul. That is the extraordinary gift of Maya Angelou. She was not only a poet, but a woman whose voice carried courage, wisdom, and a deep sense of humanity. Her words still echo across generations, inviting us to reflect, to rise, and to live with purpose. Today, we are diving deep into 10 Maya Angelou quotes that can truly change your life. These aren't just inspirational lines you read once and forget. These are life principles, guiding truths that, if embraced, can reshape the way you see yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you walk through this world. Maya Angelou's legacy lives in her ability to remind us that, no matter what challenges we face, we still hold power, dignity, and resilience within us. Maya Angelou was more than a celebrated writer. She was a storyteller who could weave pain and beauty into poetry. She was a civil rights activist who stood alongside giants like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, lending her voice to the cause of freedom and equality. She was a teacher, not only in classrooms, but in every interview, every speech, and every book she gave to the world. And above all, she was a woman of unshakable resilience. From a childhood marked by trauma and silence, she rose to become a voice of hope, empowerment, and transformation. That journey alone shows us why her words carry such undeniable strength. What makes her wisdom so relevant today is that she spoke to the universal human condition. In a world that often feels divided, hurried, and uncertain, Maya's words are like a compass, guiding us back to what truly matters: kindness, courage, self-respect, and compassion. Her quotes remind us that no matter how chaotic the world becomes, we still have the power to rise, to choose joy, and to live authentically. In this video, we are not just reading her quotes as if they're lines on a page. We are exploring the heart behind them, why she said them, what they mean in practice, and how you and I can live them out in real life. These words were not written to impress, they were written to empower. Whether you're navigating personal struggles, searching for self-confidence, or simply needing a reminder of your worth, Maya Angelou's wisdom can serve as both a gentle hand on your shoulder and a fire in your spirit. Here's what you'll gain by staying with us until the end. Clarity, because you'll discover how to translate these quotes into practical steps you can use every day. Confidence, because Maya's words will challenge you to stand taller, think bolder, and act with courage. And most importantly, inspiration, because her wisdom has the power to ignite something inside you, something you may have forgotten, your own incredible strength. So grab a notebook, lean in, and let these words sink deep. Because Maya Angelou didn't just give us poetry, she gave us a roadmap for living a life filled with dignity, resilience, and joy. And if you're new here, welcome to this growing community of dreamers and achievers. If motivation, personal growth, and timeless wisdom speak to your heart, be sure to subscribe, tap the like button, and share your favorite Maya Angelou quote in the comments below. Now, let's step into the first life-changing lesson and see how Maya Angelou's wisdom can guide us not just for today, but for every season of our lives. This is perhaps Maya Angelou's most famous and enduring quote, and it resonates so deeply because it speaks to something universal: the power of emotions in shaping our relationships and our legacies. Words may fade, actions may be forgotten, but the way we make people feel is etched into memory forever. Think about your own life for a moment. Can you remember every word your teachers, parents, or mentors ever said to you? Probably not. But you likely remember how certain people made you feel, whether it was the teacher who made you feel smart and capable, or the friend who made you feel safe during a hard season, or perhaps even someone who made you feel small or invisible. The truth is that emotions leave imprints deeper than information ever can. Maya wasn't just talking about grand gestures of love or kindness. She was reminding us that it's often the smallest acts of care that create the biggest impact. A smile to a stranger, a moment of patience with a child, a word of encouragement to a struggling colleague. These little things ripple out in ways we may never fully see. What feels ordinary to us can be extraordinary to someone else, simply because of how it made them feel. This wisdom is especially powerful in today's fast-paced, digital world. So much of our interaction has been reduced to quick texts, likes, or comments. Yet behind every screen is a human being who longs to be seen, valued, and understood. Imagine the difference it could make if we approached each interaction, no matter how small, with the intention of leaving someone feeling better than before. Here's how you can apply this in your daily life. In the workplace, don't just focus on efficiency, focus on encouragement. A kind word to a colleague can inspire more loyalty and motivation than 100 instructions. In your personal relationships, let go of the need to win every argument. Instead, aim to create peace and leave the other person feeling heard and respected. And in your community, be that person who radiates warmth, the one who acknowledges people, smiles often, and makes others feel seen in a world that often overlooks them. Psychologists confirm what Maya Angelou intuitively understood. Emotional experiences stick with us longer than facts or events. Our brains are wired to hold on to feelings. That's why a kind word can brighten someone's day even years later, and a cruel word can linger in memory for decades. We carry those feelings with us, and they shape how we see ourselves and the world. Maya herself embodied this principle. Her speeches were not only remembered for their eloquence, but for how they made audiences feel uplifted, empowered, and seen. Even in interviews or casual conversations, her warmth, grace, and presence left people forever changed. That is why her legacy is unforgettable. So here's the reflection question for you. What emotional legacy are you leaving behind? When people walk away from you, do they feel valued? Do they feel lighter? Do they feel inspired? Or do they feel diminished, unseen, or ignored? Every day, in every interaction, you have the power to choose. Maya's quote challenges us to be intentional, to live in such a way that our presence becomes a gift, and our memory becomes a blessing. This quote from Maya Angelou is one of the most empowering reminders that growth is a process, not a final destination. It reassures us that we are not expected to have all the answers at once. Life unfolds in stages, and with each stage comes new wisdom, new perspective, and new responsibility. We are not judged by what we didn't know yesterday, but by what we choose to do once knowledge arrives today. Too often, we torment ourselves with guilt over the past. We replay old mistakes in our minds and whisper, "I should have done better. I should have known better." But Maya's words bring relief and healing. She reminds us that we cannot act on wisdom we did not yet have. What matters is not the mistakes we made, but what we do now that we do know better. That shift in focus from shame to growth is transformational. This quote isn't only about forgiving yourself, it's about granting yourself permission to evolve. Life itself is a classroom. Every moment teaches us something if we're willing to pay attention. Every failed relationship, every wrong decision, every misstep carries within it a seed of wisdom. Sometimes, the lesson is painful. Sometimes, it feels unfair. But when we emerge with greater understanding, we are given an opportunity to live differently, to love more wisely, to choose more carefully. Here's how this plays out in everyday life. When you reflect on past mistakes, instead of sinking into shame, shift into gratitude. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? If you've gained clarity about your health, career, or relationships, commit to applying that clarity immediately. Growth has no value if it stays in your mind but never makes it to your actions. And just as importantly, extend that same grace to others. Don't hold people hostage to who they used to be. Just as you are growing, they are growing too. What makes Maya's wisdom so powerful is that it dismantles perfectionism. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to get everything right the first time. What matters is progress. Every stage of life presents new lessons. Every season calls us to rise a little higher. The only real tragedy is refusing to learn, refusing to change, refusing to grow. And here's the beautiful ripple effect. When you commit to doing better once, you know better, you inspire others to do the same. Growth is contagious. Your courage to change, your willingness to admit mistakes, your openness to evolve, all of these give others permission to rise as well. You become a living example that it's never too late to shift, to improve, to start again. So pause and reflect. Where in your life do you now know better, and how can you begin doing better today? Maybe it's in the way you speak to your loved ones. Maybe it's in how you care for your health. Maybe it's in how you chase your dreams. Whatever it is, let Maya Angelou's wisdom remind you, you are not defined by your past. You are defined by how you choose to grow today. This quote strikes directly at the heart of success, discipline, and motivation. It's short, it's simple, but it carries a lifetime of wisdom. Maya Angelou reminds us that no matter how much we dream, no matter how much we hope, no matter how carefully we plan, nothing in our lives will change unless we put in the effort. Dreams without action will always remain just that, dreams. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in vision boards, affirmations, or endless planning. These things have their place. Visualization can inspire, and strategy can give direction. But at some point, all the inspiration in the world needs to be paired with consistent action. Maya wasn't telling us to grind ourselves into exhaustion or to work without joy. Her message was deeper. She was reminding us that effort is the bridge between where we are and where we want to be. Success, healing, growth, and change are never automatic. They happen when we show up and put in the work. Think of the areas of your life where you're hoping for change. Maybe you want a healthier body, but health won't come by wishing it, comes by moving, eating mindfully, and practicing consistency. Maybe you long for stronger relationships. But connection won't grow without investment. It takes listening, communicating, and nurturing bonds. Maybe you dream of building a career or starting a business, but no opportunity will magically appear without effort. It comes from dedication, persistence, and learning through trial and error. Practical ways to bring this into your daily life are surprisingly simple but powerful. If you're chasing a dream, set a daily habit that moves you closer to it. Even 15 minutes a day compounds into extraordinary results over time. If you want better relationships, go beyond wish action by showing kindness, setting aside time, and being fully present. And if you want confidence, remember that it doesn't come by waiting, it comes by practicing courage, even in small ways, until that courage grows into unshakable strength. Maya Angelou's own life was a testimony to this truth. She wore many hats: singer, dancer, actress, activist, writer, and teacher. She didn't wait for opportunities to be handed to her. She created them through hard work, creativity, and persistence. Her career spanned decades and industries because she showed up again and again, willing to do the work. That's why her legacy is so vast and so enduring. She proved that talent and dreams only flourish when partnered with consistent effort. The beauty of this quote lies in its simplicity. It strips away excuses and brings us back to reality. Life doesn't just hand us what we want. We must rise, take action, and earn it. Effort may not guarantee perfection, but it guarantees progress. And progress is where transformation begins. Here's your challenge. What area of your life right now needs more action than intention? What step can you take today to align your effort with your dream? It doesn't have to be massive. Even one small, intentional step can begin to change your story. This is resilience in its purest, most unshakable form. Maya Angelou spoke these words as someone who had walked through valleys most of us can barely imagine. She endured poverty, abuse, racism, rejection, and unimaginable loss. Yet she stood tall, not because her life was free of storms, but because she refused to let those storms reduce her to less than she was meant to be. This quote is a reminder for us all. Life will hand us pain, but it doesn't have to define us. We can't always choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond. The truth is, hardships are inevitable. None of us are immune to disappointment, betrayal, or loss. Dreams collapse. Friendships fracture. Health falters. Sometimes the road ahead feels impossibly dark. And in those moments, it's tempting to believe that because we can't control the event, we've lost all power. But Maya's wisdom interrupts that thought. She reminds us, you are not powerless. Even when circumstances are beyond your control, your response is always within your command. Think about it. Every challenge carries two paths. One leads to bitterness, defeat, and despair. The other leads to growth, strength, and resilience. The event may not be optional, but your choices. You can decide whether you'll allow pain to shrink you or whether you'll rise through it stronger than before. Here are some practical ways to apply this truth in everyday life. When something painful happens, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, I cannot control this event, but I can control my response. That shift in mindset alone changes everything. Instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what can this teach me? How can this shape me? That question turns suffering into a teacher, not a tormentor. Use hardship as fuel instead of a cage. Let it drive you to create, to build, to grow, to help others, rather than allowing it to confine you. Maya Angelou lived this truth fully. She didn't just endure pain, she transformed it. She turned her wounds into words that healed others. She reshaped her struggles into stories that inspired generations. She refused to be reduced by her past, and instead, she rose above it, becoming one of the most powerful and respected voices of the 20th century. Her life was proof that the human spirit is unbreakable when it chooses resilience over surrender. Life will always be unpredictable. You cannot script every chapter, but you can decide that no matter what comes, your spirit will not be broken. You can emerge from the fire not as ashes, but as gold refined. Here's a journal prompt for you. What event in your life once tried to reduce you but, instead, made you stronger? What did it teach you about who you really are? That reflection will remind you of your own resilience and inspire you to face the next challenge with even greater strength. This is one of Maya Angelou's most empowering calls to action. Simple, clear, liberating. She reminds us that while life will never be perfect, we are never without options. How often do we waste precious energy complaining about things we don't like? We replay frustrations, vent to friends, or stew in silence, but nothing changes. Maya's wisdom slices through that cycle. She tells us, if something is within your power, stop talking about it and take action. If it's outside your control, stop fighting reality and shift your perspective. Either way, you remain in charge. This quote is really about reclaiming your agency. Complaining makes us feel powerless, but action restores power. Perspective restores peace. You may not always get the exact outcome you want, but you'll always keep your freedom intact. Maya's wisdom gives us two clear paths forward. 1. Change it. If you dislike your job, don't just dread Monday mornings, start exploring new opportunities. Upgrade your skills, or position yourself for growth. If a relationship drains you, don't keep tolerating the same cycle. Set boundaries. Have hard conversations, or step away if you need to. If your health is suffering, don't keep wishing for better, make the appointments. Start the habits. Take the steps, however small. Action may feel daunting at first, but every small step breaks the illusion of being stuck. When you change what you can, you reclaim your PowerPoint too. Change your attitude. Some things, no matter how much you wish, are simply beyond your control. You cannot control traffic, but you can choose how to use the time. Listen to an audiobook, pray, or practice patience. You cannot control delays, but you can choose to see them as divine timing instead of disasters. You cannot control every challenge life brings, but you can control the meaning you give it. And sometimes that shift in mindset is the very thing that transforms a burden into a blessing. Maya wasn't suggesting we ignore pain or plaster on fake positivity. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about resilient realism, the ability to face life as it is, without being crushed by it. She is reminding us that we can either change the situation or change our view of it, but we never have to surrender to hopelessness. Think about the freedom in that truth. You are not stuck. You are not helpless. Even in the hardest moments, you still have a choice. And choice is power. Here's a mantra you can carry with you daily. I can change it, or I can change me. Either way, I remain free. Let this quote settle into your soul. The next time you face frustration, ask yourself, can I change this? If yes, act. If no, shift. Either way, you rise.